Okay, so I've made a terrible error here. You haven't included Margaret Thatcher. Was there a row about that? Did you think to include her? Because surely she comes to mind with gutsy woman, even if you didn't like her.
Well, she does, but she doesn't fit the other part of the definition, in our opinion, which really is knocking down barriers for others and trying to make a positive difference. I think the record is mixed with her. I thought she was incredibly strong. I remember taking Chelsea to see her in the Parliament when she was Prime Minister and we were visiting. So I had, a lot of understanding of what it took.
Never forget, you must make up your own mind. You must learn to examine things. You must learn to think about them. Oh, yes, we were taught to argue, and we did. I suppose I have a lot of faults. We all have.
Why aren't I 50 points ahead, you might ask?
And I thought it was clever of her to, really try to mold herself to be more acceptable in terms of everything from hairstyle and speaking style to clothing style.
Whatever I wear, they will caricature. I'm now always caricatured with quite large bows. I often wear bows. They're rather softening. They're rather pretty. So do a lot of other people wear bows. Always bows. Usually a large nose. I think a little bit larger than it is. A double chin. I have to watch that I don't get too much bigger double chin.
I stand before you tonight in my red star chiffon evening gown. My face softly made up and my fair hair gently waved. The Iron Lady of the Western world.
Trying to figure out how we get them to have Pokemon go to the polls.
On the criterion that we were really looking at, what were the positive differences, the changes that this person made that really opened doors to more? That wasn't that apparent.
She introduced free market policies that helped the country throw off its post-war malaise and shook up the banking world with a flurry of deregulation, making London one of the world's most important financial centres.
What, like with a cloth or something? Well, no.
Her view of politics and her dismissal of the idea even of community, there is no such thing.
Every Saturday, I used to go up to the public library every Saturday morning to get 2 books. One would be about the current affairs of the day. It might have been biography, it might have been about politics. And one would have been perhaps a novel for my mother. And then in those days, the shop was open until 9 o'clock on a Saturday night, 8 o'clock on Friday night. And people would come in, and a grocer's shop wasn't just a place where you bought groceries. You talked. And so we talked about the affairs of the day. And I can remember talking about the rise of Hitler and how worrying it was. Now, this is in a grocer's shop in a small town. And when I hear politicians saying people won't understand that, I say, don't you believe it? We understood it all.
It really struck me as being, out of step with where we need to go, what kind of country, what kind of future we want for our good friends here in the UK.
Let's definitely come on to that.
Yes.
But Chelsea, it comes back to that whole thing, you can't be what you can't see. And
Yes.
I grew up knowing there had been a female Prime Minister. So I suppose it's a debatable point, isn't it?